Kim.
What?
Kim.
What?
You know I have a podcast, right? I mean, we've talked about it, but it's going on YouTube now.
Yeah.
And I just have to tell everybody that it's going to be up every Thursday, but I'm still going to do the videos, and the Simple Plan's still going on. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's new little stinkers that I'm just about to put out.
Mm-hmm. And
then I'm going to try to get like BTGG to come on the podcast and kind of try to do that. And, but the Starburns audio network that the podcast is already on, like the first 6 episodes are already on there. But this is like a pre-thing before the first one gets put on YouTube, because today is the first day that the podcast gets put on YouTube. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just had to let everybody know. Thanks, Kim. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the What Makes This Song Stink podcast. It's a podcast. What do we got today? Today, I had a conversation with Kamau Bell. He's the man. He's awesome. We've become bullshit, internet friends during the pandemic. I just think he's a really, really amazing person. I think he's really funny, and I think what he's doing is really important. And we do talk about moves like Jagger, but I also have to put him on the clock because, this is a guy that I respect immensely, who is, has a show called United Shades of America, where he's talking a lot about racism. He's talking a lot about, how divided we are as a country and, what it's like to be a minority in this country. So when I've got a guy like that on the show, I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about that. But I bring it back to Maroon 5. Go ahead, Adam. Sure does. We know this song. You don't need to listen to this song. You've been to a Walgreens before. And we are going to get to it, but first, we got some big news today because the boys from Boston, Godsmack, who I'm talking about, Sully Erna and the boys, they released a new song today. So we got to hear it. It's called Surrender. Sure. Sounds like it rocks.
You've always told me that you know me, but you don't really know me at all.
Okay. You always told me. Let's learn it. Let's see. Gee, I guessed right. You always know me. Oh, wait. You always told me that you know me, but you don't know me at all. You always told me you know me, but you don't know me at all. Because, I think that's all we need to do as far as Surrender goes. So that's the news. You can listen to Godsmack's new song. And now you can enjoy one of my favorite conversations that I've had so far on the What Makes This Song Stink podcast, everybody. This is Kamau Bell. We're going to be bringing him in.
What makes this song stink?
Kamau. Kamau. Oh, my God. It's so good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming on What Makes This Song Stink.
Thanks for having me.
It's a podcast. And you know what? I always wanted, I think let's first get your bullshit out of the way. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who this is Kamau Bell. He does it all. He's a comedian. He's a activist. I'm sorry, you're an activist.
I'm glad you know that's like a reluctant title of mine.
Well, that's a bad word now. Just like woke's a bad word. You know what I mean?
We'll talk, but also black's a bad word. So I'm used to the bad words.
Well, black's always been a bad word, right? Kamau?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a lot more about that. I'm going to put you on the clock later. I'm sorry about that. But, when I get you, I just there's so many questions I have for you.
Well, let's be clear with the people that this is not a thing that happened because you're a fan of mine. I just want to be clear.
Right.
You did not You did not Instagram message me one time. Kamau, I'm just such a fan of United Shades of America, and your book, The Awkward Thoughts of W. Kamau Bell, is so good, and I've been a fan of yours since you had your Netflix special, Private School Negro. You did that. Is not how this relationship started.
No, how did it start? Let's tell everybody how it started.
YouTube was like, you should watch this. You occasionally watch Rick Beato videos, and I was like,
you did.
I did. I was like, yeah, I do. And you like funny things. I was like, yeah, I do. And your best friend likes Weezer a lot. That's true. All those things are true. And so all that happened, and your Weezer video came up. And then as I do, I became immediately obsessed and went on like a deep dive and started sharing your videos with friends of mine, and saw that you were on Instagram. And I was like, okay, this is going to be weird. I'm going to send this guy a message just to sort of say, I see you out there. I see you doing work. I appreciate it. And it was also like pandemic time, I guess. So it was like a really time when of like appreciating something that was just like a breath of fresh air. So yeah.
Well, that just meant so much to me. It continues to, and I really appreciate that, Kamau. Because,
well, let's be clear. Then you Googled me to figure out who is this guy with the blue check mark.
That's true.
Because you're like, he's got a blue check mark. That might mean something. And then you were like, oh, and then you backward, which I'm not, I get that. I get that our streams wouldn't normally cross, but it's more about the fact that people don't realize there's all these things I am interested in that aren't just like, racial justice.
Yeah. But I think there is a common, and obviously like, in full transparency, that is what happened, right?
Yeah.
But it's one thing for like, somebody to write me a message, and even if they have a blue check mark, and I check them out, and I'm just like, but not always. I mean, but when I've looked, I'm like, okay, I've heard the name. Let me check out what's going on here. And then I was just like, oh man, like this is my lane, because in that video, I throw in, so United Shades of America, everybody should be watching this show, because you're just learning so much of what it's like to, all of what it's like to be a minority in this, what it's like to be oppressed in any sort of way. And it's more just a show of how to be human. That's what I take from the show. And I want to, and it's funny. So I want to talk more about that. But, for me in my videos, I always slide in a little bit. I don't know if like
that's why I reach out to you. I watch lots of people's videos that are funny, and I don't reach out to them because I'm like, I have nothing to offer this person. I don't know if, and sometimes I know this person won't agree with me, even though I like their video. I can tell from their video they're not going to want to connect with me, just because. And so, but no, there was the point. I think it was in the Weezer video where you sort of slipped in something about like race. You said you sort of had like a thing that was like, that my spidey sense went off, because you were like, blah, 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 racism and everything going on. And the way you said it was like, I get it. I can't speak to it, but I want to make sure people understand that I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, it's a big part of who I am. I mean, I'm not, and that's why I'm going to put you on the clock today.
All right.
Because,
and even this, I'm putting you back. This is my podcast about you. The way you talk to people in your video and who you talk to, there's not a sense that you have an easy way of talking to everybody, which is what I'm doing on United Shades. Like, you're not like, that guy, I don't know. Like, it's like you're talking to everybody as if they are people who have an opinion that you might want to hear, and doesn't matter what race they are. If they talk to you or it doesn't matter what they look like, or if they're the blinds to go guy, and you're quick at forming good relationships and respecting people, which to me is like, even if you hadn't said the racial justice thing, I was like, this is a good guy.
Well, let's just agree that we're both great.
Yeah, no,
let's just say this, Kamau. We're both great.
And we picked good partners. I want to make sure Kim gets a shout out too.
Oh, you're shooting out Kim. She's gonna like that a lot. So let's talk about today's song. This is a podcast about songs. It's a podcast. So we have a stink tank, right? And where it's just like, we ask guests like to choose either from a song that we provide, like you could choose from the stink tank, or you could think of your own song that you would like to. And I think this happened over at Instagram Live, where I was on Instagram. You were in the comments or something like that. And I was just like, Kamau, I'm booking you for my podcast right now. You can't say no, because there's all these people watching it.
Yep.
You need to pick a song. And then I think that's where it came in, right? You're like, all right.
I was immediately knew. Knew.
Now, you didn't know that when we were eventually going to do this, that it was going to be a week after, Levin Gate's happening, right?
somebody who works for me was like, "Is this the week to talk about that guy? Maybe you don't
Yeah,
want to
yes, it
pile
is.
on."
It's not the week to listen to it though. Whenever this is going to be posted, people are going to be sick of hearing
Yeah.
about it because it'll be like a month later. But it just kind of went down where he's
Yeah.
texting about leg day after he sees like a girl working out on her legs, and he says leg day. So if you want to do one of those jokes, I don't want to be too much like Jay Leno here. You know what I mean?
No. I feel very clear about, like, first of all, dudes are gonna dude, which I think we have to we understand that dudes are gonna dude. As a dude, I understand that dudes are gonna dude.
Dudes are gonna
I would hope the dude keep. I'm also very careful to the difference between morality and illegality. Like the difference between, like, sometimes dudes dude in ways that are illegal, and that's, you got to call that out and go, that's not cool. I did a documentary that maybe people have seen that calls out the illegality of a dude, but like a dude who's duding like that, it's like I really can't even try to pile on that, because it's just like, dude, and especially rock star dudes are really gonna dude.
rock star. I mean, this guy isn't just a rock. This guy isn't just in a band. I mean, this guy is in one of the biggest bands, and
a band that,
he's in
like,
shape.
and it's like
He's
one of
in
those
shape.
dudes where it's like every song is about. He's like, the genre of music that he has decided to go with is the like baby you're is like the sexy girl music. Like it's not Rage Against the Machine. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not like
Oh, great.
it's like
No,
it's not
he's writing
more,
for
it's
this.
not even like just general, like, Dave Grohl rock, we're all in this together, we'll figure it out. It's not Metallica, I'm angry and confused about my dad, but I don't know how to say it. It's I like ladies. So it's like, how can you be surprised that dude is slipping in the comments?
And she will be loved.
Yeah.
And
No,
she
he's
will be loved. I mean, that's what this guy is. He is writing for the people that he's writing to on, like, it should be going the other way. Like, it's not.
that's the thing. You're like,
Are you kidding me? They should be texting him. You know what I mean?
Don't
and
be
they're
that
not?
dude and be sloppy about it. That's what I think is the most sort of like, if he's got a dad or an uncle, they got to be like, hey man, don't be a sloppy dude. You're a rock
Right.
star dude.
Yeah. But he's Adam Levine, and there's a I'm doing a video right now, and it's probably out at this point, but I'm doing a video. I can't believe it, but I actually did a video on Nickelback. I never wanted to.
You have to knock out you can't leave that low hanging fruit sitting there.
I mean, it's under the ground. That's how low this fruit is.
Yeah,
It's actually being like, it's actually just, it's about to sprout another tree. That's how low it is. It's it's not even fruit. It's already a seed. So that's how low this is. But they put out this song called San Quentin about not wanting to go to jail. And I'm just like, why are you going to jail? It's like, how are you going to jail? You're a billionaire. You're Canadian. At least pick a Canadian prison. You know what I mean?
Like, what American law did you break that you're going to San Quentin? Also, San Quentin is for generally for lifers. So what did you do?
And all it is about, like, we're gonna drink, we're gonna go out, you're gonna drink some more, we're lighting this town on fire. Like, oh, you're gonna buy drinks. Like, he's like, we're gonna do some shit you've never seen before, man. We're gonna go into a bar and we're gonna order drinks and pay for them.
We're gonna tip well.
Yeah. So I had to. And then I just kind of feel like they just do it to themselves consistently. Yeah. And that's what Adam Levine is like continuing to do. He's just this cheesy man. And now he's just put another layer on top of it.
Which, and let me be clear about this. I'm not like, because I'm not generally a person, like, even coming to your podcast, I had to pick a song that was like, I feel like I can talk clear about this. There are many things I hate in life that I don't think are worth talking about out loud, because I don't want to just be a person that's why I like what makes this song stink, because you're being very personal about it. That's why you feel bad about Nickelback, because you feel like everybody can hate on Nickelback, but you're like, it's very clear that, like, even in saying you hate it, a lot of times you're like, you talk about how much you love the thing you're hating or how much you love the pieces of it. I thought the Chili Peppers video is a great example of that. Like, these individual pieces are really good. I don't like the way it went in this version of it. So So for me, I actually like have a soft spot from Adam Levine because of the show The Voice, and me and my wife watched it when she was pregnant with our first daughter, and then we watch it, and now my daughter watches The Voice, and he was on The Voice for a long time. And he was good on The Voice. Like, he was like, Him and Blake
I'm not-
Shelton had a bromance. It was like a fun sitcom, you know.
I think there's way worse. I mean, I'm kind of into the cause I'm really sure no anymore. And then that Sunday morning song that just rips off Stevie Wonder, like that one, you know, I'm not like don't. Oh yeah, yeah. I like Sir Duke too.
That works real well. I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also old enough to remember because I'm older than you. Like their first single, "Hard to Breathe," was like a great pop rock song.
Yeah, man. I might voice clip you on that, but I mean, like,
I'm just saying for like
you guys looking to United Shades season 8. Their first out.
That song, it's sort of like in line with that Eve 6 song. Like it was just like that are sort of just like jangly, sort of poppy.
Trouble my times, I would love it in minds.
Yeah. Like there was. I didn't buy the album, but like when they came on the radio, I was like, good for you. And then to get from there to moves like Jagger just seems like, oh boy, we decided we wanted the third house, did we?
Can you imagine being in that practice though? It's like, all right, what do you guys got? Well, I got one called Moves Like Jagger.
Yeah.
And then like it works. Like the whole like the band says, yeah, all right, that sounds really good. Yeah, Mick Jagger. And all right, let's just listen to it. Adam, will you put it on? I actually haven't heard this song since the last time I was in Walgreens. Oh yeah. So hooky whistle. I don't know if this is in the whistle invasion of like there's like
that's
5
when you go,
songs.
wait, those aren't real drums.
Right.
And they have a drummer in the band.
What year did this come out? 2008?
Something like that.
It sounds like
No, it had to be like 2013, 14. I believe swore.
Yep, 2010. That's producer Adam coming in with the heater. That's why he's here, everybody. That's why he's here. Coming in with that 2010. Okay, let's stop that. But like, remember the whistle songs? Like they were huge. I think that they were before like the Hey Ho song. So it's like Lumineers came in with like the Hey jigga 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 ho jigga jigga jigga. But then there was the
oh yeah.
What's the shoes song? The Pumped Up Kicks.
Yes.
Like there was, and then I think Portugal the Man has a whistle song. Like there's like I think it's right around the 2010 area where there was like whistle was like the first. It was like that's the hook that's going to get you in. And then this kind of has a disco, but it's all pop. It's all every one of these moves like Jagger is like we're kick drum coming in, then we got the beat coming in, and it's kind of like post Black Eyed Peas, and it's like, all right, what's happening in music right now? This is what we need to do.
There's something about it that just from even the title feels so cynical. Like that's the thing I think is so like it's funny like that like because there's nothing about this that says Mick Jagger.
No, and
like there's nothing about this that says like this is a Rolling Stone style song. This is that we're not describing like the heyday of the 80s when you describe what the dance is. You're not telling us how Mick Jagger moves.
You're not throwing in one of these like like they could have thrown one of those in there. You know what I mean? Like in the chorus.
You're not singing it like Mick Jagger. You're not. There's not the attitude. It doesn't sound like
you
you're
would
snarling
believe
your
that
lips.
that this man doesn't even know, has never heard a Rolling Stone song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe something on like, his favorite song is probably, or.
Oh yeah, I was thinking Jumpin' Jack Flash. That to me feels like when.
But like Miss You, something maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe, but like, it's.
There's nothing about that song that's going to take a teenager from that era going, oh, I should look up Mick Jagger now. And if they do, they're going to be like, this isn't what I was expecting.
Right. It's kind of like I did a podcast episode on the Limp Bizkit version of The Who. And I was just thinking like, a Limp Bizkit fan hears Fred Durst singing Behind Blue Eyes, and then like, oh well, the Who's got to be up, and then they hear Tommy. You know what I mean? They go from break stuff to see me, hear me. Let's see, moves like Jagger lyrics. Let's just find out what the verse might be about. Adam, will you put it back on? Doesn't need to try to control. Look into my eyes and I'll own you. He's gonna own you. Okay.
This is filed under lyrics that you can only get away with if you're a rock star.
Right. Baby, it's hard and it feels like you're broken and scarred. Nothing feels right, but when you're with me, I make you believe that I've got the key. None of this means anything. These are just words. I say it all the time. They're just words. They're like, I have a high voice. I have muscle definition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a catchy melody.
If you had said that to Kim when you started dating her, you would not still be dating Kim.
Do you know what I said to her to pick her up?
What?
You could cut it off, Adam. I was like, hey, can I, what's your number? Like, here's my number. Can I text you, about some deep family traumas? Just let me know about, anxiety and depression, if that runs in your family or anything like that. And she's like, okay. I'm like, well, I don't want to talk about popcorn. You know what I mean? Like, do you like popcorn? Yeah, we'll get there. I'm like, well, what kind of popcorn do you like? But I was just like,
you didn't say, look me into my eyes and I'll own you. You
but
Andrew Tater.
But speaking of United Shades of America, Kamau.
Oh yeah.
This is what I do. So it's like, yeah, the song stinks, whatever. But I want to talk about a specific episode. I think it was the episode 1 of season 7 where you're in Arizona.
That's the
episode,
woke episode.
Right?
We wanted to call it World War Woke, but they wouldn't let us do that.
Okay, you should have called it World War Woke.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How do you do these episodes? Like you were complimenting me, like being able to talk about anything to like Blanche to Go guy who is the best, or whoever I see on the street. And I do think that we have that in common. It's just when I see you talking to these people that, that just, how wrong they are, but you're still able to have that conversation because that's the only chance we have, really, right? That's it. Our back's against the wall so much that, like, yeah, we could just stay on our side of the fence and just like say, I know that this is right. And then I know that this is right. Even though that, that when people do not have facts, are just using the buzzwords that they are supplied. And then I love how you just slide in like, okay, so you don't think that people should, so slavery, we can't say slavery was bad. And they say, no, you can't say it's anything.
Yeah. No, I mean,
you can't say it's anything.
Yeah.
You can't say slavery's bad.
Well, that's the funny thing about that clip you're talking about. And then I was like, okay. So I thought I was going to give them an easy one. So I was like, what about Nazis? Can you say Nazis were bad?
Yeah.
And then they were like, no. And I was like, and you see me like, oh my God. Like if we can't do Nazis are bad, then we're doomed as a country. We're absolutely doomed.
You can't do it. And she said it so seriously and so matter-of-factly. And,
that I was even confused. I was like, do you mean, like, sometimes I give people, and sometimes this gets cut, because I want to confirm, are you really saying the thing I think you're saying? Because I know there's cameras and you get excited. And so if you see it end up on the show, that means that person confirmed that that's the thing they wanted to say. Because I don't want to I'm not out here like throwing people under the bus. I want you to walk yourself under the bus.
Right. And you do that so wonderfully. I mean, you really do. It's like, and I feel that when I watch a show where I'm just like, he's not exploiting these people at all. What we're seeing is what they are. And you're giving them every opportunity. You give them outs.
Yeah.
Like you give people outs. You're like, take this, please.
Yeah.
You're like, get onto my editing cutting floor.
Yeah.
Like, do it. Like you want to do this.
Edit yourself out right now. I want you to edit yourself out.
Please. And they don't.
They don't. And I think that, like, it's funny, the thing you said earlier, the thing that I really have realized, especially recently with the show, is I think we, there's like the easy button from whatever, was that Office Depot? We like have broken our empathy button in this country. Like so 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 people have an inability to even empathize with somebody else's struggle if they feel like that struggle has nothing to do with me. So I can't even take it in. I can't even
Yeah.
take it in because it's got nothing to do with me. And then on top of that, we think if I do focus on their struggle, somehow it's going to make my life worse. So
Yeah.
I actually have to push their struggle away so that I can still hold on to what little bit of life I have.
I also want to apologize because there was a woman in that episode that said that she's like, from Irish descent. And she said something like, the Irish were persecuted
worse
more than, Black Americans.
They had it worse than slaves.
They had it worse than slaves. And these are my people. Kamau.
Yeah.
These are my Irish American morons. And,
well, it's funny because the director of that show, Mo, who he did the thing of like talking to her for a long time before she talked to me. He's like, this is what you want to say. Like, this is what you want to do. Because he had the same feeling you had. Like, I got some of my DNA goes back there too. Are you sure you want to say this? And he said,
no, you don't want to say this. And what the episode is really about is the critical race theory, which, obviously me growing up, I was always hearing about critical race theory. I mean, who doesn't, right? Like that famous critical race theory that we're all talking about.
And, in every black household, we have Kwanzaa and we have red velvet cake and critical race theory. Those are the things that every black household has.
CRT. So for those of you who don't know, and listen, I know that this podcast is about moves like Jagger. I do. But you know what? I've said this before. This podcast for me is now an experience. It's now an opportunity for me to talk to some people that I really respect, and also that I just find interesting, and that things that I want to learn. So when I've got W. Kamau Bell here, Levin could wait. You know what I mean? Because there's things that I'm going to put him on the clock just for a little bit. Because critical race theory is just basically, if I was to boil it down, it would just be like, hey. That section that we have in history books about like slavery, it was for economic reasons. Like you said this in your episode, it's for economic reasons. And then fast forward to I Have a Dream speech. Yeah. And then that's it. How about we include the fact that these people were enslaved? Mm-hmm. How about that? This is your country.
And,
how about that?
When it was over, the laws in this country worked hard to sort of keep black people as close to slavery as possible.
Yes.
Like that
up until now, but I mean the 70s, redlining. Like you bring up redlining, which is just like, will you tell people what redlining is if they don't know?
Absolutely. So I'm sure everybody's like, finally somebody can tell me what redlining is. So basically there's I tuned in I came for Adam Levine and left learning about redlining. This is my whole career. So this is the best way I think to explain it. We have an idea in America that the path to wealth building or generational wealth is home ownership. So the idea being that like if your great grandmother bought a house on the south side of Philadelphia for I don't know $500, like whatever it is, that now that house is worth $3 million. So if you were to sell it, you'd have $3 million that your great grandmother didn't have, that you would have just had just by owning the house. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people in real estate get into it because the equity they have in one property, they can flip into another property. So they can keep sort of like, that's, it's how we got a president who was a real estate con artist, is real estate. So people say real estate's the way to build wealth. Well, what redlining did was literally the banks in major cities drew red lines around where the black people lived to say, if the property that is here is not worth as much as the property that might be across the street from here. So therefore, even if black people owned a house, that property did not accrue wealth. And what it also did, it meant that like white people wouldn't buy in those red line districts. And they said, if you're a black person, you can't buy in the districts outside of the red lines. So you can't even go if you had the ability to buy a house in a nice up and coming white neighborhood, you weren't allowed to for many years. Mm-hmm. So just because the bank drew red lines around things. So what it meant is that if a black person's great-great-grandmother bought a house like for $500, that house today might be worth $300,000. Just because it was in a red line. And these are numbers I'm pulling out, but it's not going to accrue the same amount of value as a house that's owned by a white person. And this is all math that people can Google.
Sure, but this is all, and it's all just these are the things that these people that are on the Ted Cruz side will say. Did they just not like these are facts?
We're not trying hard enough. Why don't they lift themselves up by their bootstraps?
Yeah. Okay. So it's all of that stuff, and when it comes to like CRT, and we will get back to Maroon 5, I promise, after the break. But when it comes to critical race theory, these people, what percentage of people, because these white people think that because we're going to be talking about, we just don't want to be, this is teaching that all white people are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And but what's the opposite of that? That all black people are, good.
Yeah.
Like and all people that are proponents of it are trying to say is that no, these are the facts. Mm-hmm. Let's try to become a better society. Let's try to become a more perfect union. We're living together. How are we going to do it? And let's be obvious. Let's this should have happened. Yeah. So it's just like, what percentage? And this is the last question I'll ask for now. What percentage of people, Kamau, would you say? What percentage of people would you say actually, and on the on the Cruz and DeSantis side, or the as you call latte liberal side, what percentage of people actually have done the work and aren't just using the 5% buzzwords of they grab woke, or they grab this, they grab that. You know what I mean?
So are you saying like are you basically saying white people who get it the way that I think I get it, or are you saying people in general who understand the history of this country and where we're at and where we might be headed if we don't hit the e-brake and figure it out?
Well, the problem is that the people, I get as upset when I hear, people talking about the fact that, we have to ban critical race theory because it's teaching, people that are saying that slavery, you can't say that slavery was bad. That angers me almost as much. And then almost as much I get angered from, the latte liberal as you call, which I would be closer to, of people that are just on social media, posting the black who square. The black square on Instagram. What I mean?
That's exactly what I was going to say. We're on the same page. So I would say that this is the thing I feel like. I think that we're still in a position in this country where I think there's less people on the Ted Cruz side than we think there are. I think the media sort of promotes those voices because they're loud and they're fun and it's very clickable, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world. But there's still a sizable percentage. So let's say that's 20% of this country. Maybe it's 30%. Okay. But the latte liberals, I think, are probably also like maybe a bigger percentage, but because they don't do a lot, it feels like there's less of them. Mm-hmm. Because they're not actually like picking, they sort of aren't picking a side. So then it becomes my job to be like, look, I'm not going to get the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world or the people who think that she's talking sense. I'm trying to get the people who turn their Instagram square black. And then a month later, we're like, "Oh, that didn't change everything." Wait, the police still killed a black guy, but I thought I turned my Instagram square black. And so I'm like, "Come with me." You at least know. Your spidey sense is going off that something's wrong. You just don't know how to fight the crime. And I'm here to go. Come with me, and I'll help you learn how to do this. So that's really who United Shades is for. I get there. A lot of people are gonna like. Even if they watch it, like that Ted Cruz side, they're not going to take it in because they're going to be picking it apart at every angle with whatever theory they have. I'm talking to people who are like, I feel like things are wrong, but I don't know what to do. I will happily talk to the latte liberals and go, let me turn you into an actual lefty. Let me actually turn you into an actual like hardcore, like the kind of lefties who punch people in the mouth. Those are the kind of lefties, who are like, we have to actually stand up to ignorance. We don't just Instagram square our way out of racism.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you how much I respect what you do, and also, it's got to be exhausting. You have to be exhausting about.
Well, that episode was particularly exhausting because they were.
Oh, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
It's not something you want to hear about your TV show, but
it's you have to watch it. You have to. But it's just I just get so angry.
Good.
And but as Zach De La Rocha said, anger is a gift, Kamau. Yep. So on that note, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll actually talk about the song. This is an ad. This is a commercial break for a podcast called The Commercial Break Podcast. Check it out. thanks to the Commercial Break Podcast for sponsoring this episode. And I do thank them that because, they gave me money. So thanks, Commercial Break Podcast. The Commercial Break is one of Apple's top 3 improv comedy podcasts and is available on all major podcast players on YouTube. Longtime best friends Brian and Chrissy get together 3 episodes a week to discuss life, love, the pursuit of absurdity, sinister ministers, ridiculous MLM companies, monster hunters, and more. If this sounds like your kind of podcast, this sounds like your kind of podcast. The Commercial Break hosts use their unlikely friendship and personal life stories as a backdrop to discuss some of the insane topics and trends from around the globe. And we got those. We got insane topics from around the globe. You need a podcast to help you guide you through that. The Commercial Break Podcast. The Commercial Break is available wherever you find favorite podcasts. Believe it or not, it's available. That the whole line with like podcasts available wherever you like podcasts, that's got to wrap it up. Just like, people that are still on voice messages saying like, thank you for calling, leave your name, your number. Yeah, I think we got it. But yeah, check out the Commercial Break Podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast, or you can visit tcbpodcast.com. That's tcbpodcast.com. I can't believe I'm one of these people now. That's tcbpodcast.com, or go to youtube.com/the commercial break. That's the Commercial Break Podcast. It's a podcast too, and you can listen to it. That was a great break, wasn't it, Kamau?
I saw that the way the sign came up. I thought that was really professional. It's like, oh, we're doing real. This is like
we're getting there. I have a producer. Can you believe that, Kamau? When you sent me that DM,
I was shocked. I was sure this was done by you, and maybe Kim was going to be like.
I would never want to do it. I mean, so just like, Adam got in touch with me and was like, what do you think about a podcast? And I was like, yeah, I would like to do one, but I don't want to have to do it. I don't want to have to do it.
It's good.
I'm already doing these long videos that take forever to do. I'm like, I can't. And he's like, no, I'll do it. We'll do it. Yeah. I'll get you Starburns Network. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Starburns. I was impressed when I saw that. I was like, oh, this is real.
Well, we're trying over here, man. Okay, so let's get back to the song. Adam, where the hell were we with this song?
So get in the car, you can ride it wherever you want.
Yep, we're driving.
You wanna steer, but I'm shifting gear. I'll take it from here. Oh yeah, and it goes like this. Take me by the tongue and
What did that have to do with moves? Like, Jack, they're sitting in a car.
We're still so far away from Mick Jagger.
You can't dance in a car. It's like you see, you can do this, and you'll see people behind you at a
Mick
red
Jagger's
light.
not associated with cars.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing about the song. Also, I want to say, if I'm the bass player, I'm like, okay, Adam, what am I doing while this song is playing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm the drummer, I'm like, what am I doing while this song? Because those aren't real drums. Like, what do you want? Because this is a band, ostensibly, right? It's a band of people.
Yeah, the only thing I always picture that one guy who's got like blonde hair that goes down. I could see their guitar player. I have no idea what their bass player looks like. I have no idea what their drummer looks like. I don't know if they have one anymore. I mean, I would imagine that this song is just production.
Yeah,
it's Levin, maybe the guitar player, maybe the band's in there. I don't think so. And then they have their live band, which probably has like 9 people in the band by now, I would imagine.
And 9 keyboard players.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but there's this just like they're the acceptable train. That I think that's how I'm going to classify Maroon 5. Like, if Train is like, they're the same band. Yeah. It's just like a slightly different It's like, but unlike Train,
I think Adam Levine turns up like if you have like the game where you create your own player, like the Train lead singer is like Adam Levine, but Adam Levine's slightly better looking, more tattoos, more in shape. Like, it's just like if you sort of like you start with the Train guy as like the Avatar, and then you sort of turn it into Adam Levine.
And maybe, just maybe, he had like he listened to like "Are You Experienced" by Jimi Hendrix, whereas Pat Monahan has the greatest hits. Like that's kind of how I feel. Like he listened to a deep cut. Like he knows, he knows like. A band of gypsies exists where it's just like
Adam Levine Adam Levine clearly is a fan of Prince, whereas Pat Monahan saw Purple Rain.
Right, he saw the movie.
Yeah, he saw
that's it.
Yeah.
and maybe a greatest hits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But,
But
like,
Adam's listening to a deep cut.
yeah,
you know?
Adam actually got Sign of the Times. He actually went to the yeah.
Right. So like that's the difference between the two. But I mean, I'm sure that they gotta be texting each other, right? I mean, they gotta be. I mean, and maybe Pat's like his sensei. You know, Pat Monahan could be like, because he's 10 years older. About, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe Monahan's like, hey, if things are dipping down a little bit low, why don't you record a Stevie Wonder record? We did a Led Zeppelin record. You could record the whole Stevie Wonder record. And Adam's like, no, why would I can't do that. I mean, it's a Stevie Wonder record. He's like, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
We recorded Led Zeppelin 2 all the way through. So, and it worked. He's like, it worked. Like, you guys should just record a Wonder record. You'll be fine. You know?
Well, and he also, like, the move of, like, not only do you get on The Voice, so you're like, it's sort of at that point, like, it's weird to have a current musician like that on a show like that. That was when it was sort of still strange to have, like, Adam Levine, but he's out there on the road. He's going to do this. And then not only do you make this song that is clearly more of a pop song because you're on a very big television show, but then you get your other celebrity singer person, Christina Aguilera, to be on your song, which never would have happened if not for the fact I think that they're on this show. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it feels like a show that it feels like a song that the TV show wrote. Like, you know.
Well, it is. Speaking of TV shows, though, Kamau, check mark over here. You got, you've got a profile. Like, can we Masked Singer? Would they ever call you?
My kids would love that. They would actually. That has been suggested to me by my kids. They really feel like I'm not doing enough content that they enjoy. Is what the message is. So,
they're like, why is this Masked Singer just singing like what's going on? And
First week he rapped "Fight the Power." The second week he's singing very out of key "What's Going On."
He's doing. He's doing "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back" in its entirety. Oh my God! I don't know if it's just because I come from good parents. I don't know what it is, but it's something. And I get just so emotional thinking about it, of just what you've had to deal with in this fucking country, being a black man, and I just like it breaks my heart, So it's like. This is why I'm going to keep putting you on the clock, because it's just like, I think we have things we need to learn. You know what I mean? I really do. Like, it's just, how are we ever going to get better? And you're trying, and you're using your voice. And I think that, I don't know how I'm going to segue back to talking about Maroon 5, but, Chuck D, Flavor Flav, Big Clock, Adam Levine probably has a watch, probably expensive watch.
Yeah.
And, he writes a song called Moves Like Jagger, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah. But yeah, Adam, let's put it back on.
You wanna know how to make me smile? Take control on me just for the night. Well, if I share my secret, you're gonna have.
Who's this?
Christina Aguilera.
Okay, so this is Christina coming in.
And they were on The Voice
X-Factor
together at this time.
Right.
And they performed it on The Voice, which to me felt like, oh, this is so cynical.
But I bet they didn't even get the whole version in.
No.
I mean, it was probably like a minute and 15 seconds, because those shows you can never listen to a full 3.5 minute songs. That's like the main problem I have with those shows, where it's just like, it's not the fact that it's just like they're judging people on how well they can go. I mean, it should just be called Run Fest or something like that. But the fact that like songs are 30 seconds long on all of those shows, and everyone's like, "Yay!" It was just like, get to the part where you can hit the high note. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like that old Simpsons clip where it's like, play Taking Care of Business. And then they're like, we want to go with our new stuff. Play Taking Care of Business. And they start playing Taking Care of Business. Get to the working overtime part.
Right.
That's what they do on those shows. They very quickly get to the working overtime part of every song.
Right. Get to the working overtime part. I was thinking about, Simpsons jokes will just come in every now and then, where it's just like, I wash myself with a rag on a stick. When Bart, do you remember that one? Yeah. So Bart dreams of like being an overweight person that gets on TV, Like he
Yeah.
wants to be famous because he's like Guinness World Book of like,
Yeah.
700 pounds or whatever. And the paparazzi's there and he's in there. He's got like this toga thing on. And he goes, I wash myself with a rag on a stick. And he's washing himself. And then after he says that, they all clap.
That predicted the Simpsons predict a lot of television and a lot of trends. That's
They
not
did.
far off.
I mean, Simpsons, amazing. So let's see. Maroon 5.
Simpsons amazing. I think I'm gonna clip that part. For my own purposes.
Yeah, the Simpsons are good. If you didn't know that, the Simpsons are good. You should check them out. So, I don't even know what else. Like, do you think that, Adam Levine, what I'm going to do, put the song back on, Adam, if you don't mind. Take me by the tongue and I'll know you. Kiss till you're drunk, I'll show you. You want the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger. Which is like, for people that are watching this on YouTube.
Yeah.
The moves like Jagger are ridiculous. I mean, I
wouldn't
love
call him
Mick Jagger. Don't get
sexy.
me wrong. Let's talk about Mick Jagger for a second. So
Yeah.
it's just like, this man, this 85-pound man.
Yeah.
Who,
And close to 85 years old at this point.
exactly.
And still
Who,
going
like,
strong.
everybody knows the moves. You got the finger pointed, right?
You got the arms. You got the sort of the fashion model arms.
You got
The
kind of
wings.
like a chicken walk.
Yeah.
Going
And a head thing.
right, and a lot of presenting, pointing.
Yeah.
And
And then a facial, like a lip, like a sneer lip pout.
isn't it amazing though that the Stones? Okay, I'm talking about the Stones here. The Stones are like the band that like are the badass band, right? Like they're like the rock and roll band. Everybody that's always like Beatles or Stones or whatever, and it's like, real rock and roll guys will say like, "Nah, man, I like the Stones," and so it's just like they're this badass like bikers like the Stones. You know what I mean? Like tough guys like the Stones. Tough guys like the Stones come out. Look at this man who is up there wearing tighter clothes than any woman's ever worn. Looks like a woman. He's moving like, and these are the men that you would typically say like, oh, look at that girly guy over there. Use like the F word. You know what I mean? Like these kind of people. But they love that man.
Well, that's that whole thing. I'm sure you know this. Like the Beatles are seen as sort of like the more like upper crust band, and the Stones are sort of the rough and ready band. And yet it's like the Stones, Mick Jagger specifically comes from like wealth. He comes from money. He's the upper crust guy. And the Beatles came from Liverpool, which is apparently an ass kicker of a city.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
That ain't the upper crust, man. That ain't the upper crust. I mean, it's wild. Like that Liverpool is kind of like there's parts in the UK. Have you been around the UK at all?
A little bit. I did a couple gigs in Scotland. I've been to London once, but I've been to Edinburgh and then Glasgow, which is like also not the upper crust.
Right. But like you should get out there. Like if you did a United Shades of the UK, it would be like instead of going to Arizona. By the way, that episode, the woke episode, it's just you meditating in the beginning, and then you open your eyes and you're like, oh shit, I'm in Arizona. Yeah, that was funny. So it's just like that. If you did the United Shades of the UK, like you would get into these towns, like there's a like these because I did this tour of the UK where I wasn't just in London, or even Liverpool or Birmingham or anything like that. I got into these towns like a town called Wolverhampton, right? And shout out to Wolverhampton if you're listening to this, where I swear they don't close their mouth. It puts the South to shame. Like their South is unbelievable. It's like I was talking to this guy and he's like, all right, lads, you're going to go on at 6 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock, you're going to have a good time. And you're going to have a good time because everybody's going to, you got to get your guitars in. And it's, his mouth didn't close. It was amazing. I didn't understand. I'm like, I speak this language.
Yeah,
I have no idea what this man just said. So.
Well, their South over there goes back a lot further than ours. Like as much as the people in people I want to act like America's an old country. We have no idea. Their South, whatever their South is, goes back 1,000 years.
Like when you see that guy popping a hot dog at 2 a.m. on, if you're driving through, Mississippi and it's like you just get to a rest stop and you see a guy that's just sitting outside of the gas station popping a dog real slowly.
Yeah.
Like they've got that times 10,000. I mean, their guy that's been sitting on the, outside of a gas station eating a hot dog or, fish and chips, whatever. But yeah,
No, they're eating like
it's
blood sausage.
Right. But it's funny because we give them, because they do talk like this, you know what I mean? It's quite sophisticated, isn't it? And you think, all right, this is a sophisticated lot, isn't it? Because they talk like this.
Well, some of them do, and we still have this sort of like, we saw with the Queen's funeral. Like we still have a lot of people in this country who still have that king and queen envy. Like we sort of like still think they're better than us.
Right. Which I mean, listen, the monarchy. Couple problems there. I think we could admit. Didn't really work out. Monarchy.
It worked out for them.
It worked out for them. But kings and queens, it's a good look. I mean, I think we could agree on that. It's a good look.
It's a good look.
Principal, not great. Castles, good look.
No, castles,
you know what I mean?
Look. No, but if they were like the king and queen of the castle, the way that Chuck E. Cheese is the king of Chuck E. Cheese, yes, I think it would be a good look.
Right, but if they didn't have like, okay, we're going to
if it paid $15 an hour to be the king and queen of England,
right?
That's a
I
fine
think
look.
it's kind of become that with like medieval times. I mean, that's the closest thing to a castle here.
Yeah.
Or like there was I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. There was a smoke shop called Castle Smoke Shop where it's like I love when businesses just put like the on top of their shitty building, they just put like the bricks up. That make it look like the top of a castle smoke shop.
Yeah. Or
when
all the pizza.
There's
that. I think it's a website called Used to Be a Pizza Hut because Pizza Hut used to have a hut thing on it.
That's great.
And now they've closed up, and now you can see all these Used to Be a Pizza Huts around the country.
Love Used to Be a Pizza Hut, which is, by the way, Pizza Hut's still going. Like, how are the Pizza Huts still like affording national advertising, yet the stores are going down?
Yeah, it's funny out here. There's a thing called Round Table Pizza. I don't know if they have it. But it's the Bay Area's Pizza Hut. But I feel the same way. They didn't even get to national prominence, and I'm like, how is Round Table Pizza still like? It's kids' birthday parties and kids after school buying like cheap slices of pizza. I think that's the only thing because you can order Round Table Pizza or Pizza Hut to every kid's birthday party, and everybody's fine.
Okay, Round Table, never heard of it. There's one thing about Pizza Hut that I do want to say before we take a break here that I'll never forget. It was a Pizza Hut that was going down in Scranton. Like it was on its way out. It was still hanging on, but only a couple cars in the parking lot, Yeah. And I would drive past it and had one of those, those shitty signs that businesses have with the arrow where they put the letters up. Those like they light up and only 3 of the lights are on.
Yeah.
And like, listen, I'm not the best. I'm still working on trying to get Jack Hoffman hung on the wall here. I know that the background could look a little bit better. I get that. But if you're a fucking restaurant or a business, plug a light in. Like get a new light bulb. You know what I mean? Like these signs that are out forever, like, that's just like the neon signs, man. I mean, if you're trying to bring someone in, buy a fucking light bulb. So I'm looking at this sign and it's shitty. I mean, this thing looks like it got beat down from like 50 years of nicotine in a break room, like from like AA meetings or something like that. Like this yellow sign was just rotten and it had the arrow. And I'll never forget it. It was probably like January 20. It was maybe like January 7th or something like that, or 10th or 11th. Actually, it was later. It was like January 15th. And I'm driving past and it just said, Happy New Year. And there's nothing funnier than that to me from the Pizza Hut. This shitty sign.
We're just trying.
Like
we
January 15th, still up there. What do we put on the sign? Well, it's, Happy New Year from the Pizza Hut.
And I have to point out specifically that the funny thing, the deeper level of funniness about that is January 15th, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
That's a good way. That's a good way to take. Maybe that was it. So maybe there was someone who was woke enough in there to know that let's put Happy New Year, but let's not talk about Dr. King.
Yeah,
because
no.
we have to Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. Maybe we'll listen to more Maroon 5. We probably won't. Hey, welcome back. That was another great break. I was really happy that we got to go to a break, and I'm sure you're happy that you got to hear a commercial. So we're talking to Kamau Bell. You know that this has been a great conversation for me, at least. I hope you're enjoying it. You can check them out on United Shades of America. I do in episode plugs every
I
now
got
and then.
you.
Just to keep
I
it
will. I
bullshit.
do want to say it is all the episodes, including the season that you're talking about. The newest season are on Discovery Plus right now. So if you're ready to download a new app, you can go to Discovery Plus and watch.
Love
all the
logging in.
episodes.
You know that. So
Yeah.
Discovery Plus, does that mean like? Have you ever been at like a party with like the guys from The Deadliest Catch?
I've been at the Emmys with the
Sig?
guys from The Deadliest Catch.
Sig Hansen.
United Shades
Have you
beat their
met
show.
Sig Hansen?
Yeah, we didn't all party, but I have been in a room with people from Deadliest Catch. I beat their
that's
show, I
awesome.
think, 3 times in a row for Emmys. So,
I think that they've been on for 45 years.
yeah, no,
And
they're not going anywhere.
They just keep putting the pots in the water.
No,
It's unbelievable.
They're not
It's like,
going.
what are we going to do this season? So it's like for United Shades of America, you have to go into your writer's room. You
Yeah.
need to talk to, all the people. Okay, what are we going to do?
Mhm.
What problems? Luckily, there's always going to be problems for you.
Yay.
But, okay, we went to Hawaii this season. What else did we do? Okay, who else has it?
And we
real
can't
bad?
go back to the same places. Like, we can't go back every year. I mean, we've done 2 Hawaii episodes, but they were seasons apart. So, whereas with Deadliest Catch, we're going to try to catch those
Dutch
fish.
Dutch Harbor. And like, what are we thinking this? Well, we did 4 boats last year. Let's do 5 boats this year. They're kind of on the Gillette Mach razor program of just like, well, we're at the Mach 13 right now. Where can we go now?
Yeah,
How about Mach 14?
Yeah.
I remember when Bic lighters put out a brown lighter, and I was just like, wow, because it was like it was blue, red, and like white forever, and then like all of a sudden a brown lighter showed up, and I was thinking about that meeting. It was like, hey guys, I just got this idea. I don't know, brown. How about gray? But Deadliest Catch.
It's like when sports teams went, like, I remember that period where sports teams, like 20 years ago, like, we could make these jerseys whatever color we want to, right?
Yeah.
Like, it used to be that they were only team colors, and then suddenly everybody had silver and black jerseys because those Raider colors were popular. Like, it was like, and then they.
How do you feel about the jersey jumping though? Like, I feel like it's kind of jarring in a way where it's just like, I get it. They want to sell more jerseys and stuff like that, but it's just like it almost feels like every game you're getting a different jersey.
Well, especially
like,
they even stopped doing the thing where like the home team would wear white because those weren't the best jerseys. So like they even started letting the home team wear whatever they wanted to wear, and you're like, I can't even tell who's playing or where we're at. Like,
I feel like we should have been consulted as far as this goes. Like especially like throwback jersey. I like when like, dude, can we all just agree that throwback jerseys look amazing? Like, why are they the throwback jerseys? Just go to them. Like, if we have all of these bands, and I talk about this a lot, like coming back, like there's the older bands that always write, I call them Ringo songs, that always write like songs about like how it used to be. So it would be like, Mike Love has done this a lot with the Beach Boys, and like where it's like back to form songs, right? It's like, we're gonna get back to the early days when we were getting up, you know what I mean? And we were like going to practice and we didn't have any money and stuff. But like Ringo's always like, those were the days. I do this on every show. We were the lads, right? Lady Madonna was sitting in the back seat when I was driving my car, so it's just like, he's always hearkening back to those days where it's just like, and the joke is that it reminds us of those songs. So it's like, I'm just going to listen to Drive My Car then. Yeah. And I just feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like the sports teams should just be like, oh man, they actually really like the throwbacks, and we can make them happen. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates, when they had that hat, the circles that go all the way around. Yeah. That's a good look,
Well, it's funny, it's funny how nostalgia works. People even like the throwback to a jersey they didn't like the first time. Like, I'm old enough to remember how much people hated the Toronto Raptors Raptor jersey with the that has the dinosaur on the front of it.
Yeah,
like people hated that.
I remember.
It felt like kids' pajamas. They hated it.
And now Drake has 1,000 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Like now we're like, remember that. It's funny.
Right.
Nostalgia's. You've talked about this a lot. Nostalgia lies to you a lot. You just sort of think, I remember that, so I must have liked it.
Well, I mean, like the Sixers, I didn't. The problem is that Allen Iverson's one of my favorite players of all time.
Fair.
I'll be a homer as far as that goes. But like, that Sixers uniform was never one of my. I feel like he got a bad Sixers uniform.
Yeah,
I can't come around to it. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's just like I love the uniforms now. It's just says Sixers across. It looks great. It's more the Barkley. Like they went back to that, and he just had a lot going on that.
I mean,
Sixers
the
uniform.
late '90s, early 2000s, it was a bad era of jerseys. Like the sort of the
Yeah.
'90s, like because they started. That's when they realized they could sell. And it's specifically, I think the Raptors jersey is a big part of that. They realized that suddenly people wanted to wear these, and they were like, "Oh, kids and women want to wear these." We thought it was just dudes who played basketball who wanted to wear these, and so
Right.
there was a lot of like really doing too much, as they say. The jersey started to do too much in that late '90s, then that '90s, early 2000s era.
I'm feeling like the short shorts have been like coming back.
They
and
have
I'm
been.
kind of into that, and I really want to see like fucking full on '80s short shorts. that'd be incredible. Great look. Larry Bird. I mean, possibly one of the shittiest looking men of all time. He's called Larry Legend. I mean, look at that guy, unbelievable. He looks like a bird, and his name is Bird. Okay, so let's kind of get back to the song here. Let's see, Adam. What song are we doing today?
This is like when you're watching TV and you're flipping back and forth between channels. Like I'm gonna watch a little bit of the Move Like Jagger podcast, then I'm gonna go back to the podcast where they're just bullshitting.
Well, I got some bad news for you. We're out of song. We've heard the whole song.
That's hilarious.
I never even I was saying before we taped, I don't know if I've ever heard this all the way through. I just know I've heard it all a million times, but it's all been pieced together, Frankenstein. You know what I mean? So I think this was the first time I've actually heard, even though I talked over most of it.
And you didn't even realize.
I can give you the little outro, see what you feel about it.
Yeah, let's check out the outro.
All right.
Oh, that
brilliant.
Which is the perfect go to a commercial.
Yeah, no,
come back to a segment.
So here's
you know
the question.
I mean?
I have not looked up live versions. Do they hire a whistler?
Whistlers, if you see a whistler on stage, I'm 99% confident it's going to be a track at this point. Because whistling into microphones is so hard. Not to say it doesn't happen, but over a full mix.
Yeah.
Because you have to. The move with it is it turns into a.
Oh yeah.
Outside gig. This is what my friends have always said. Anytime you're, sounds like an outside gig, but you have to. Your sound has to be really, really good,
and you have to be really focused to be on stage in front of thousands of people with all that going on, and to just keep that going. You have to
because. Whistling isn't like rocking out or just playing drummers could just play louder and it's just and
you also can disconnect from what's happening you can just play your thing. But whistling, you got to make sure you got to stay focused.
You can't rock whistle.
The
more you power you put into it,
I got that move. Yeah, if you get too excited about the moves like Jagger, you're going to ruin your whistling. So this is the thing that makes me so frustrated about this song, that you go from a band that was I assume was a credible live band to now you're just hitting tracks. You're just hitting hit the whistle, hit the drum tracks. It's the guitar, but it's not. It's through effects, and the guitar player is really not And it's suddenly it's I just imagine that the drummer that day was so this is what we're doing now, Adam. So
I mean, I just feel like these guys are they're pop monsters. I mean, it's kind of I talk about this a lot in my videos where it's just the lack of a musical conscience, really. I just think it's kind of they know they're using every convention imaginable and they're just staying on top. And it's pop music. I mean, that's what it always kind of was, but there's still good ways to make, I think, interesting pop music. And I'm not saying that they haven't done that in some sort of way. Like I said, I think that they're the acceptable Train. I would say they're Sprite, and I would say Train is Sierra Mist.
Ooh, not even 7-Up.
Not even 7-Up. No.
Okay.
7-Up would be who's 7-Up? I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's their thing, and where it's just okay, we're listening to what's going on. We're paying this producer that knows the sounds right now. What do we have to do? And I would love if I could do anything in this world, it would be troll the music industry, where it's just the sounds, make a hit song like a toilet flushing, and an unplugged electric bass, right? So it's just like if this was the sound, unplugged electric bass. I don't know if there's a worse sound. And you hear a toilet flush. And that was a hit.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, you hear Maroon 5 and Train both come out with albums like slight differences but they work the toilet in because they know that the toilet is the hit maker.
Figure out a way to get those sounds on Pro Tools, and then get the right person to. I mean, here's the funny part about this is that my daughter's 11. She plays piano. She sings. Her favorite artist is Alicia Keys, and at her school they have a thing called Rock Band, which I was super excited that it's not called band, it's called Rock Band. And so she auditioned for Rock Band, and she had to have rock songs to audition to. And that's where I learned she didn't even really she thought she had a really narrow idea of what rock was, which was actually probably the original idea of what rock was: loud guitars, making noise. And I was like, well, there's actually a lot of songs you like that are rock songs you don't know. And I played her a Coldplay song. She's like, "This is rock music?"
Good point.
And I was like, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of making. I mean, I mean, that's what it says on Spotify. And yet, the point you're making is a good one.
I mean, Imagine Dragons is a rock song. They're a rock band. I mean, this is what rock.
This is where we're at. I mean, it's like, become. And I think that at least with Imagine Dragons, you hear guitars sometimes. With Coldplay, there's songs where there's I had a hard time. It doesn't sound different from Alicia Keys, really.
Maybe Coldplay 7 Up. That's that. Yeah. I mean, it could be, Coldplay. I feel like they've just kind of we were a rock band and now we're going to do whatever it takes. We watched Tom York.
Yeah.
And they're Tom York light the whole entire way.
Oh, no, for sure. They they took out
York
the
used
parts.
to rock. Now York is all instrumental. Tom, he stopped enunciating, and it's just polyrhythms over polyrhythms and stuff like that. And then Chris Martin's like, yeah, I want to do that, but I still want the money. So it's just we gotta have a hook in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going full NPR. They're going half NPR. You know what I mean?
And they want it to be played on as many radio stations as possible. I want it to be on the rock station, the pop station, the adult contemporary station, the classic rock station. I want to be on as many still surviving radio formats as possible.
So let's wrap this thing, Kamau. It's been great having you on, and let me just ask you before I let you go, what kind of man are you? Are you fixing a toilet? I just moved into a house. Are you good at shit?
No. I think part of being a man, the way we're talking about it, is really accepting what you're not good at and then refusing to do those. And then really figuring out a way that you can refuse to do those things and those things still. So either making friends with the toilet guy. So if you can't, let's say you can't afford the toilet guy, putting yourself in a position where you can be friends with the toilet guy.
With the toilet guy. Will you tell Kim it's we're just going to be friends with the toilet guy?
If you can't afford the toilet guy, which is a big deal because toilet guys are expensive, you got to become friends with the toilet guy. But I'll say this too: at some point, you have to also sort of learn what you can do, so that you can then you're allowed to not do other things. So, for example, one of the knobs on our oven broke, it just didn't broke, and my wife was like, "I guess we just don't use that burner anymore." And I'm like, "We're just gonna give it." And I just sort of went to Google, and apparently you can buy new knobs. I didn't know you could do that. You could buy.
So you did it.
Yeah.
I
ordered the knobs.
You've looked at that knob too, late at night before you're gone to bed. Guys always man, they build something and then you get to turn around and be look at it. You cut the lawn, you look at the lawn, you just look at it.
After I put it on and it fit perfectly, I replaced all of them because they only sell them by packs of 4. So I replaced. So there's brand new knobs on our stove. I turned it on, I turned it off several times, and I stood back and nodded my head.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got we got to hold down the toilet,
Yeah.
the handle for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out, is it my chain?
Yeah.
Is it the flapper?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but these are high stakes. I want to try to learn how to do it, but what if I fuck it up? Then we don't have a toilet. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I think I got it.
You can't fight that battle every time. You do have to sort of. I never thought I would be the stove knob guy, but I have become the stove knob guy. I never thought I'd be spider killer. I am spider killer in my house.
Right.
But then you have to sort of go, it ends here. Now we got to go get the guy. And you have to look your partner in the eye, your Kim in the eye, and go like, I'm not the guy. I'm sorry. I'm not the guy. But
You're
good
not
thing
that
is
guy.
I accept that I'm not that guy. I'm not going to break our toilet.
You're not the toilet guy, but you are award-winning Kamau Bell. You've won awards, right?
I won awards, yes.
Yeah, I took a shot.
No, we
there.
talked about it. I beat the deadliest catch guys 3 times at the Emmys.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we have award-winning Kamau Bell beating deadliest catch Sig Hansen from the Northwestern Dutch Harbor, and I can't thank you enough for coming on. And it was been great getting to hang out with you. And thanks for answering questions about your show and about life and about all of that stuff. I didn't mean to put you on the clock, but I had to.
I'm happy to be here. And like I said, the thing that you think I'm doing for you, you were doing for me. Like when I was like, it was a great way to have a break from all the stuff that was going on in the world, and always is, to go, let's just settle into some Pat Finnerty.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I also like how you've posted some of my stuff and you're just like, everybody, we're going to take it. I got to take a break every now and then.
No. It was definitely like, I know that how my feed works. I'm like, what is he? Is this guy raising money? Nope, he's not raising money for anything. He's not. This is just art. Yeah. It's just art. Enjoy the art.
Here's the thing. I love talking to you so much. It's just I keep saying one more thing. But one more thing. You post these things on Instagram and you get back to the trolls. Like, do you decide how many trolls you're going to get back to? Like, I've been watching. Let's just do a little troll talk first before we get you out of here.
So here's my rules for trolls. I only get back to them if I'm having a good time, not if I'm angry.
Okay.
So don't troll angrily, because that just never ends up anywhere. Because then you're going to say something really really stupid that's going to come back to bite you in the ass, Yes. And so, or you're going to reveal yourself to be sort of petty. And for me, I don't mind being petty, but I only do it if I'm actually it's fun and I have time, And so
you troll from like a calm place, like when you're
you can't don't tweet angry, don't Instagram angry, don't social media angry, don't respond to trolls angrily. If I'm angry about it, I won't respond to it, and then maybe later I'll come up with that's a funny thing to say. But if you can't do that 3 weeks later, because then you're that guy. So
then you're that guy. Then you're George Costanza. But I feel like so like someone wrote on your comment of the Danny California video, like, stop bugging people on the street. You're not even famous. Mm-hmm. So instead of, I don't know why that one just like, I loved it so much that I pinned it. So now that's the pinned comment under.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything to it. I was just like, stop bugging people on the street. You're not even famous.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to handle it. You just want to go, I saw you, but here's the attention you wanted. Here's the attention you ordered.
Right. Yeah. Here it is. All right, well, let's get you out of here. Everybody check out W. Kamau Bell on all the shit. You know how to do that. Google. Watch his shows, read his books, watch his documentary on Bill Cosby. He's got so much stuff that you could check out. He's right there. Just a Google away. Go ahead and do it. Go to patfinnerty.net if you want to check out my bullshit. And leave a review or rate. You know what I mean.
Okay, let me do it. It's very important to feed the algorithm so that we can make this man as successful so he can get his hot tub. So you need to leave 5 stars. Don't do 4. Don't get in your feelings. Only 5-star reviews are asked for. And you gotta share it with somebody. Share it with one person. Even if you're like me, where your audience is like, why are you doing this? You gotta share it. You gotta share it. 5-star reviews on whatever podcast platform. But the Apple one, even if you don't listen to it on Apple, 5 stars on Apple means a lot.
Kamau, do you mind if I grab that audio and just play it every single time?
It's fine with me.
So that I never have to do it. We just bring in Kamau to end the episode. Adam, can we do that? Kamau just end every single episode?
Whatever you want to do. You have my release.
Oh, that's incredible. And Kamau, do you mind thanking executive producer Adam Levin for me too?
Special thanks to executive producer Adam Levin, not Adam Levine.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Don't click the link below, whatever, or click it.
Starburns Audio, a podcast network.